Hi, everyone. This is a book that my niece Jill got me. It's titled "Honoring the Women rather of North Hastings," and it's their stories as well as their recipes. And I just found a lot of personal connection in one of the first stories that I opened up to. So the recipe is mayonnaise, homemade mayonnaise. And some of you may know I come from a rather large family, and large families, I think in general, you have to pitch in. And one of my jobs was to make sure the potato pot was filled, but also to make sure the mayonnaise jar was filled with homemade mayonnaise. So I was quite young when I made homemade mayonnaise, and should start doing it more. Anyhow, when I read about it, it was Sue Hillis. Sue Hillis was born in 1920, and my mother was born in 1926. Bessie Bowers, and they were friends. And so I don't know much about Susan herself. What I know more about is just that my mom seemed to admire and adore her. When I read about Sue Hillis and what was submitted by her family honoring her at North Hastings, yesterday we talked about resilience. Her mother was Elizabeth Forrest, and Elizabeth Forrest moved to Bancroft because it was closer to the railway station, and she owned and operated the Bancroft woolen mill because she was Scottish and had weaving in her background. So the woolen mill is very dear to my heart, and in fact my husband and I joke that that's probably where we met when we were children. Because once I met his family as cottagers in the area, I found out that his mom spent quite a bit of time at the woolen mill. If you'd ever been in there, it was quite a unique place for sure. And it talks about Susan Hillis, Susan Marie Hillis. My mom called her Sue Hillis. She was grew up on Sherburne Street in Bancroft, and it's a great big high hill. And they tell a story about her tobogganing all the way down the hill and around the historic Bancroft Hotel and ended up downtown. And so it kind of shows the spirit of Sue. But she went on to marry Bob Hillis, who was a teacher, and he taught at the old Tin House. And the old Tin House is quite famous now or was until it changed location, for buying gifts and so on. Ran by Moira and her mother. Can't get their last name. And it's called the old Tin Shed, and it's now moved to Main Street, and people flock there from other areas to buy their great goods, and they have such good taste in picking everything out. The other connection with Sue Hillis is that I used to teach dentistry at a private vocational school in Belleville, and it was Ontario Business College, and it was the oldest historical vocational school in Canada. And Sue Hillis was educated there. I'm not sure in what year, it doesn't really say here. And the Reed's General Store was what her parents owned, and so she operated that for a while. And when her and Bob were married, she worked herself into a secretary, treasurer type position with the school board, and she used to drive paychecks out to all the teachers and the bus drivers. And that's back when the roads were not so good around here, and she did that throughout the winter and so on. And so as reading about my mother's friend, I just, it's very warming in my heart. And by the way, her mother, Elizabeth, her husband died in 1902 and left her widowed with, what was it, 6 children, I believe. It might have been 8. Yeah, 8. 8 children in 1902, and she moved to Bancroft to start the woolen mill because it was closer to the rail station. So we talked about resilience the other day, and resilience is strengthened by our social bonds. So make sure we stay connected, everyone, as family and as friends, and make sure you say out loud, that laugh, LOL, laugh out loud. Also love out loud. Let us say we love each other, perhaps, if it's in your nature to do so. I shouldn't push it, I guess. Anyway, thought I would enjoy showing you, I thought you might enjoy me talking about Sue today and honoring the women of North Hastings. I honor them for they have built a community that the rest of us have the privilege of enjoying. And wherever it is that you live, there will be many women in the community that has supported it. So cheers to the women of our societies. Blessed be.